Over the next 2 minutes, I want to make you think about and reflect on the difference in your classroom between compliance and engagement. Now, quite often when we look for engagement, we see compliance and we mistake the two. And our eyes can be deceived when we walk into classrooms or when we're studying our classroom ourselves and we're teaching. And we see all of our students doing what we're asking them to do. They might be quiet, they might be following instructions. They might even be doing some things like copying things from the board, which I've talked about before in terms of low cognitive demands. But they're all doing what we're asking them to do. Nobody is off task, nobody's doing anything kind of, we would class as negative behavior. But actually, are they engaged or are they just compliant? And yes, you need to get compliance first, and we've got to have rules and we've got to have students doing what they should be doing. But is it leading to students who are invested in their learning, who are actually engaged and almost leaning into the lesson? And I think that's a really interesting phrase, that leaning into the lesson. You can almost see kind of your children like sitting up a little bit or leaning forward on their chairs or kind of being really interested. And if we only get surface level compliance, we're only going to get so much out of our students. Are they really deep thinking? Are they really engrossed and invested in what they're doing? And it's then thinking about what leads to engagement. Now, actually, engagement might lead to some behaviours that we might think are not compliant. It might be a bit noisier. There might be a bit more activity. There might be, there might be some more of a buzz in the classroom. And it's starting for you to reflect on what does engagement really look like in your classroom compared to compliance. When do you really feel that the students are engaged? What does it look like? What are the activities that you do that lead students to get engaged? How do you create a hook for learning? How do you get them bothered about their learning? How do you get them invested in their learning? How do you get them to lean into the curriculum? How do you make the subject matter mean something to them in their lives? Make it relevant to them? Only you'll know those questions for the age, the phase, the subject you teach. But my reflection point here is, do you know the difference between compliance and engagement? And what does engagement really look like and feel like? And once you know that, then let's start designing activities that create that buzz, that create that engagement, rather than just that surface level compliance.